Okay, we'll call the meeting to order at 6:07. In attendance, we have everyone but Dan, I think. Is that right? And item 1, approval of today's meeting agenda. Can I get a motion?
I move to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Unanimous. Item 2, approval of the meeting minutes from June 20th. Can I get a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes from June 20th.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I
Opposed?
abstain.
I'm sorry, Patrick.
I abstain.
Abstain? Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody opposed? Okay. Patrick's abstention.
20 minutes.
All right, we're gonna go to the ones where we have some people here to talk to us. Item 5. 78 North Point Drive. Exterior alteration deck.
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can, yes, thank you.
Yeah. Do you have any questions?
Let me reminding myself which one this is. We have 37 items on our agenda this week, so. Any of my committee have any comments about this one at this point?
Nothing negative, but I'll move to approve as submitted. Approving item 5 as submitted.
All in favor? Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's go to item 10, Aaron and Felipe.
Yep, we're here.
And we can hear you. We just talked to you, right?
Yep.
Okay.
We're in the greenhouse, 33 Longshore Lane, proposing to build a fence in our backyard. We had the patio and water feature that's that required us to submit a variance form.
Right, okay.
I'll move to approve the fence and we'll vote on the variance separately. Is that true?
Yeah, I guess you would be approving the idea of the fence and we're setting aside the variance at this point. Any other comments before we vote on that?
Yes, I have a comment.
John?
May I ask, is the existing fire pit and pond within 5 feet of the property line?
Yes, it is.
And you want to put the fence on the property line? Is that correct?
Yes, so we don't bisect those features.
And did you say that you had spoken to your neighbors?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought that's what you said. Yeah, this was one that I was skeptical about, and I'm glad we visited you. It was helpful to see what the actual fence would look like. So any other comments before we vote on Joe Jean's motion?
Just a quick one in that
Sure.
if the proposed fence is on the property line, whose responsibility is it? I would suggest the fence be within the property line, meaning, yes, within the property line.
Yeah, is that possible to bring it in that, so it's not, you're not really sure exactly where the line is that correct?
We have located one property corner along that line, and
Mhm.
we were not able to locate the other property corner. We're suspecting it's buried, and it's probably up by some of the big cedar trees at the front of our property.
Mhm.
But the wall, the retaining wall that's my neighbor's, lines up with the one property corner line. So we're pretty certain that that wall is on the neighbor's property line, like just by a few inches. And then our certainty of where the other corner is in the front yard. But in the backyard, since we located the corner and talked to our neighbor, that retaining wall is right near the property line on their side.
So technically we'll be inside of property line.
So our intention is to be just a little bit inside our property line. We'll have the fence close to the existing features as possible, but without having to remove the Douglas fir or remove the patio or the water feature.
So could we make the motion to well, you've got the variance here anyway.
Yeah,
That's is that in connection with that fence, or is that a different?
There's only one proposed fence.
I
and
mean side of the fence. The variance would be for that one we're discussing, or?
Yes, the other sides of the fence are going to be 5 feet from the property line, and we have located those property corners.
Okay.
hey, Aaron. Can I
Yes.
clarify your and Felipe's intention to, are those paver stones, the 2 or 3 foot paver stones that mark the demarcation point between the two properties, is that going to stay and then you're going to put your fence just inside of that?
Yes, correct.
Okay, just clarifying.
And can the committee or Aaron clarify for me, please? If the fire pit and or pond are in the 5 foot setback?
It is.
Yes.
I just would like to make a note that because there was something, I believe, built there incorrectly, that now we're asking for a variance, which we may or may not allow to build a fence very close to the plot line based on a fire pit and a pond that were they approved, Aaron? Do you know?
I'm sorry, I don't know. My husband and I just purchased this property at May 7th of this year. And this is the first time I've heard of anything on the property being built improperly. So I'm sorry. We just received, I just called and asked about getting the records for this property from the HOA, and I have a form to do that. But I don't have any further information. We bought this property as is and haven't made any changes, and we've owned it for just over a month.
And thank you for that. I really appreciate the fact that you're new to the area, that you're working with us, and we're all trying to figure this out. Good on you for including us in this request. Thank you. That's all the questions I have.
Thank you.
So I suppose since the variance is on the next request, I guess we can go with Georgine's motion as she stated it. All in favor?
Aye.
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 What's your motion again?
The motion was to approve.
Okay.
No extra comment, right, Georgine?
Item 11, we're speaking of.
No, that's
We're
item
10.
10.
We're in 10.
Okay, we're on item 10. Thank you.
It was just approved, right, Georgine? That's what your motion was?
Yes.
Okay. All opposed? Okay, unanimous. And then on to the variance, which she described, and John further asked for clarification.
I'll make a motion to approve the variance with the fence on that one side of the property just be a little off of the retaining wall, because I went out and visited the site and the husband showed me the property lines and everything, and I didn't see any issues with it.
Yeah, I agree. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, unanimous.
We've had 2 people join.
Okay,
Whoever is on the iPhone with the phone number 1310, go ahead and unmute and let us know why you're here, for what address.
Hello, you hear me?
Hello? Yes.
Yeah, hello. You hear me?
Yes, who is this?
This is Vladimir. I'm the builder of 101 Polo Park and 4th Street Clover. I just joined. I don't know if you already did that.
No, John Gordon is here.
Yeah, John Gordon.
Yeah.
I'm just joining the
Okay.
meeting
Okay,
just
listening.
in
Okay,
case
go
you
ahead.
have some questions or something.
Okay, go ahead and mute and we'll let you know if we do. And
Okay.
then VJ, I see you're here. Go ahead and unmute. This is VJ Singh. He's here for 18 Louise View. VJ, are you able to unmute?
Hello?
Hello, are you there?
No, this is Yevstahi. We're here for 18 Luis View.
Okay, I think this
As well.
might be your neighbor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay,
I'll
well,
mute.
I guess he is unable to unmute, so. VJ, if you're able, unmute. We can go on, he'll figure it out. Try leaving and coming back into the meeting, VJ.
is that all we have waiting, Diane?
Yeah, that's it. Sorry, I should have been clear. Oh, wait, VJ, I see you're unmuted. Can you speak? Okay, just speak up whenever you can. That's it.
All right, well, let's jump to item 12. 140 Windward Drive. Is Kelly here?
Yep, I'm here.
Do we have any questions for Kelly? Do we have a motion for Kelly?
I'll motion to approve item 12 as submitted.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, you're in, Kelly.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Is VJ here? Is he?
He's here, but
Is
he's
he-
unable to communicate.
All right, well, let's jump to item 15, 18 Sudden Valley Drive. The disappearing retaining wall. What's going on with that, Vitaly?
Yeah, so originally we had that retaining wall approved.
It was
The
part of
way
the
it was drawn
original application, correct?
Correct, the way it was drawn up by the architect before we start digging. So the thing with this house, from the day we built it to today, it had 3 different owners. We built it 3 different ways. We did a number of revisions, complete revisions with Whatcom County, there's a lot of changes since originally the way it was built. The design changed where it was supposed to have a different thing in the back, but as it sits today, it's complete. There's area in the back where you can easily walk. There's concrete, the house, obviously the big retaining wall of the house. There's no need, and we discussed it with Joel, with my structure engineer, whenever we did the plans, looked at overall the whole building as a whole project, and there's just the way it's dug out, the way it's backfilled, there's really no need for a retaining wall. So we discussed this with Joel on a couple of times that we met out there. We installed jute matting everywhere, and then covered it with mulch. And so I'd like to not build a retaining wall.
Joel, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Do you have any, I mean, I'm looking at a photo of this and it looks like, you've got a lot of dirt just waiting to come down. Is that, did you say we don't need a wall here?
Can we show the photo, please? If possible, Joel?
Yeah, one sec here.
Page 3, item 15. Thank you.
Here it is. Oh,
Daniel?
Yeah, it looks like, I'd like to see a retaining wall in there. I think that's going to be kind of a dead area if you don't sort of define that space with a wall to hold that dirt up. Personally, I mean, Joel, what's your view on that? That dirt's got to go somewhere, right?
well, I don't. I mean, I have a hard time deciding either way. You'll leave it up to whatever is approved by the planners of the committee. Usually, I think at minimum it needs jute mat, and that's there. The policy says it slopes over 2-to-1. Horizontal, vertical need to be cut and fill slopes need to be corrected by retaining walls. I'm hesitant to judge it as stable.
Sure. Yeah.
Right, because then I'm not an engineer, but so I can't. I'm hesitant to say either way.
Sure. Yeah, and I appreciate that. From my perspective, and what we're charged with is, when I see this, it's kind of a dead area that's just going to continue to slowly come down. It might not impede your walking, but it will just be a space that nobody will use because it's, that dirt is moving down. It's always going to be a mess there too. Anybody else on the committee have any opinions about that? I mean, I've got neighbors that have been in these situations with that kind of slope behind their houses, and it's always a mess. Anybody else have any view on that?
If an engineer is willing to sign off on it, I think it'd be.
Let me mirror what Joel was saying. I was going to ask. I was looking up Vitaly. Do you have anything from an engineer that says, I mean, I appreciate you mentioning Joel thought it would be okay, but do you have anything more formal from an engineer saying that a retaining wall is not needed?
Yeah, I do. So a couple things, and Joel knows this, and I've submitted this previously. So part of the revision for Sun Valley and for Whatcom County was when stormwater got involved, we did a revision on the other existing retaining walls in the front. And so I had a structure engineer that was the original engineer for the house, and he's been involved with this whole project over the last 2 years. I have a site plan that he reviewed and stamped that shows.
When did he review it and stamp it, please?
This was about, I want to say 2 months ago. And so what he did, he looked at the overall site plan, and this was mostly for Whatcom County. So I had a stormwater engineer site plan that was we did a redesign that was approved by Whatcom County, and also the structural engineer approved and stamped the site plan, and this retaining wall is not on the site plan. So he took into consideration the walls that were there that were added and the walls that were not, because there were walls that were added at this house that weren't originally approved, since then have been approved, and now this is a wall that was on the original site plan that we didn't do. And so he reviewed both of that, and that site plan is stamped and has it's accurate. And I've submitted that both to Joel and to Diane, and I can submit it again. And like I said, Whatcom County looked through, and their stormwater and their people have approved it as well.
Follow-up question, is there any time pressure in, I guess we're not doing anything, so there's no time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For me, absolutely. This house has been complete and furnished for 4 months. I cannot move anywhere until Sudden Valley. Sudden Valley is essentially, this is one part of it. There's a second part to it, but all these retaining walls have been a big issue for me. And so I've gone through all the process with county, structural, everybody I could to get this approved and finalized. And so this, for me, is absolutely a time sensitive matter because it's just sitting there empty.
Sure. Can
And,
we?
and Vitaly, you said that you gave documents to Joel and Diane. Can they verify that? So we have the site plan, as you said, and the engineer's report, please.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm
Joe,
looking for it right now. Diane, do
Joe,
you?
I stuck it in the Teams for you.
Oh, you did. Okay.
I did. And while we're talking about retaining walls here, the 4 retaining walls in the front are what's holding up this entire project. They were built in the right of way without permission. They are currently in the hands of the general manager, who is working with the attorney regarding these walls.
That's one part of it. Yes, there's a couple of things.
May I get absolute clarification, Diane, if you don't mind, just briefly? There is a retaining wall or something in the right of way at the
There
front of the property?
are four retaining walls in the right of way.
Thank you.
And specifically, what changed to this design that made you decide you don't need a retaining wall back here?
We built it, we looked at it and decided we don't want to put a retaining wall because it's not necessary. This is very common for us. We have built many homes that are built differently than what the architect draws up, because when we start digging, it's almost never exactly, the topography changes. It all depends on how we dig it out, how we backfill. There's different slopes, and so we add retaining walls as needed. Sometimes it's for us to decide. Sometimes it's a Sun Valley decision. Sometimes it's a Whatcom County decision, where we either need retaining walls or, hey, you don't need retaining walls, just cover with jute mat. And so that's this case here, where we just finalized out a house on 16 Canyon that has steeper slopes than this, that we put jute mat there and covered it with mulch. And so
Joel, do we have documentation from Vitaly as to the engineer's report, past or present? He said something about 2 months ago.
I know we do have engineering approval for these four retaining walls in the front of the property, and that's been all. I don't.
That's the original request.
Yeah,
For
this
those
one,
retaining walls. And you said they didn't build them? Is that what I was hearing too? Anyway,
this is the site plan that was just shared with me that lacks the retaining walls at the rear.
I didn't include it with the submission because it's a lack of retaining wall that he's asking for. And the 4 retaining walls in the front are what's still up in the air.
Yeah. Is there an engineer?
So the engineer stamped the site plan as is in the way it's drawn up. So the way we're looking at isn't stamped, but it's the same site plan that's stamped, and he took into consideration the retaining walls that were there and the retaining walls that were missing. Because we did revisions for Whatcom County, and that's one of the things that they also needed. And so I didn't specifically go to the engineer to say, give me a report for this wall missing. It was just the whole site plan, and he stamped the site plan.
I don't see where this is stamped.
Sorry, what?
I don't see where this is stamped or what the date of it is.
This one isn't. I submitted one that was stamped along with the report.
Okay, but we don't have that to see.
Hold on. I went to what you submitted on June 26th at 3 o'clock. That's what I've gotten, the tally.
Natalie, what's the issue with putting the wall? Why don't you just put a wall there? Why did you decide you don't want to put it there?
Again, I just don't see the need for it. It's extra work, extra money, and it's not necessary. Not a big fan of those retaining walls. And
We sure liked them in the front.
not my choice. I was forced to do it. I would not have done it if I didn't have to. That was not something I had a decision. County held my whole thing hostage and said I had to build them, and I had 3 weeks to do it.
Well, we do defer to the engineers on a lot of these calls. But beyond that, we're looking at the overall design that was approved originally. And this is a change. And part of what we're looking at is, will this affect, the aesthetics of the house and the neighborhood? And for my mind, this kind of creates sort of a dead space back there where this hill is sort of coming toward the back of the house. If you had a wall there, that would be a nice area, and it would be a nice addition to the neighborhood.
Well, there's no neighbors in the back that really would care, and it's also a maintenance thing. I mean, at the end of the day, there's a lot of stuff that I potentially would do, but I don't have the luxury of doing it. In this case, all I want to do is get this house moving ready, and so I feel like there's going to be less maintenance there the way it is versus having a wall there that I then have to go clean and pressure wash. And there's no backyard space needed for there's no doors in the back. There's nothing. And frankly, if you stand there, it's really not that much slope.
Okay, well, I mean, we've got 2 issues here. And I'm not sure if we confirmed that the engineer approved this. Where are we with that, Joel? Or Diane?
That's what he sent me. He said in his email that it was stamped. That's exactly what he sent me.
Can I get a conditional thing that I'll provide that same exact site plan with a stamp right on it? I can try to email it right now. I'll try to find it right now.
Yeah, we'd like to see that, but also I'd like to ask my committee if they have any issues with, besides the engineering aspect of it, leaving the space as it is and not doing, adhering to the original design. Any comments about that?
Well, I think if the engineers approve it, we have, verification of that and it's stamped. I guess I would go along with it.
I agree. That's what I'd like to see, please.
So you're saying you can provide that? Vitaly?
I am looking through my emails right now. Yes, I have that same site plan that is stamped. Might have been my mistake. I was sure that I provided a stamped one. But I'm looking through my emails.
Vitaly, email that to Joel so he can project it up, okay?
Okay. Can you guys just give me a couple minutes, maybe move on to the next one, and then I
That's a
will.
great idea.
Motion
I
to
will,
postpone for 5 minutes. Sorry, I had to say that.
That's okay.
Daniel, it's your
Yeah,
call.
we'll get back. Yeah, what he said, I
Postpone for
guess.
5 minutes.
Can
I found it. I'm emailing it to. I can email it to Joel right now.
Okay, then I'll stall and ask Vitaly, is this the modern looking house on the corner that has those 4 stacked engineered retaining walls? Because I feel like we were there and we asked about that wall a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
It
All right.
is.
Yeah, it's the one. Wayne, go ahead.
You approved it pending Sudden Valley approval, and then Sudden Valley did not approve it because it was built in the right of way.
Oh, and I
It's
do
pending.
remember it did look like quite a steep slope, and it's I'm really surprised you're taking retaining walls out of this because there is a lot of mountain up there just waiting to come down.
I think that was the one Wayne was talking about. He was advocating that retaining wall back there.
He was, yes.
If going back to what John and Pat are saying, if we can see something with a stamp, engineer stamp that says without a wall, I'd be okay with it.
All
Well,
right,
the
I received something here.
The engineering, I did not get engineering that says
You don't
no
need a wall. Right.
I have a site plan, and the engineer took in consideration the whole site, the whole house, everything, and stamped this. But he was mostly focused on the front retaining wall.
Sure.
Not so much. I can very easily get something from him that says. I mean, I don't know. I've never had engineering that says we don't need this. But the original plan and so I had this plan revised. I had the site plan revised, and engineer looks at everything and stamps it. And when he sees something that needs to be added, like when we did a revision, that now doesn't have the wall, and he stamped that. He doesn't go through and make a list and says, this is no longer needed. He just approves the new whatever's drawn up. In this case, it's a site plan, but I also have the plan of the whole house.
Right. Vitaly, may I just add really quickly that I really appreciate you hanging in here with us because we're really just looking at safety issues of the people and property. And I think Joel has the documents up now. Is that correct?
Yeah, is this the one? Can you guys seeing it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the one I think you submitted with the retaining walls that were in the front to existing block retaining wall, right? It points to those ones in the front, and those were approved by the committee, and so it doesn't have the wall in the back. It does say here Bradley Engineering takes no responsibility for items not specifically addressed within this report set. So I don't know if that. I mean,
I think I would feel better if we had an engineer say that we no longer need a wall back there, because I'd be really surprised if you could get that. When we looked at the site, that was the first thing I noticed, that there's a lot of hill going up there from the house, and I know from experience that that's going to be a lot of trouble, and I assume there's some sort of a drainage, a drain back there too behind the house.
So the house has been up for like 3-4 years, and we haven't had an issue. I don't want to be rude or disrespectful, but I want to kind of disagree. I've been building out here for a long time, and when we need a wall, we'll put a wall. And this is at this point, all the potential people walked away. This is my personal own home. So I'm not trying to cut corners and sell a crappy house and walk away. I would just disagree that there's no need. And even if I have just a little bit of dirt come down, there's still like 10 feet between like a flat spot. So at no point is there anything going to be coming down and becoming an issue or anything at all. And we've had heavy rains, snow, I mean, you name it, the last few years. This has been backfilled and like that for years. Looks good. Everything's good. I do kind of want to disagree that it's just not that big of a slope. We have bigger slopes around with
There
no
are bigger
retaining.
slopes. I agree with that. I would like to see, like Joel pointed out, they're not specifically concerned with that area. They were looking at the other retaining walls. I would like to see an engineer report that says specifically that you no longer need to adhere to the original plan with retaining walls in the back. Also, for me, aesthetically, it just creates a dead space. And that's something that we look at. My committee may disagree with me, but I just want to put that out there as my perspective and hear what the rest of the committee says about getting a specific engineer report about this wall, because it is a change from our original approval.
I would like to see a motion to that effect. Does anyone have one, or Mr. Chairman?
Joel, do you have any pictures from the back of the house looking up at that slope?
Oh, not readily available, I think.
I mean, I just think it's a little much asking for engineering for something that there isn't. I mean, unless I'm wrong, like I understand the opinion of it, a little much slope, a little aesthetically, but does that mean I'm required to have it? And I understand that it was the part of the original submission, but like I said, I have a really good excuse for that or reason. Every home I build, it's a little different. So we go through the process to approve. And I understand if you guys really want it, it just creates more issues, more time, more money. And I'll get some from the engineer. But like, there's no evidence that I need one there. It's the house has been there for years. I think that's proof enough that ain't going anywhere. And there's, like I said, 10 feet of flat area. Even if I get a little bit of dirt coming down, there's 10 feet of flat area between where the slope ends and then my house. Like I could walk behind it very easily and I have no need to do that at all. And so like, I don't know, it seems like a stretch for me just aesthetically.
Okay, yeah.
Some people might like that house
I would like to
aesthetically,
get the
some
view
people
of my the rest of the committee. I've given you my opinions. What does everybody feel about this? Any other questions for him or requirements?
No, I'd like to see the report stamped saying that it's not necessary.
Yeah, specifically for that wall, not just an overall approval of a new plan, but this is our concern right now is this wall. I'd like to see any kind of engineer drawing or approval of a stamped approval for this wall being removed or not being put in.
And I agree with the two previous gentlemen. And with the spotlight being that we are making this decision based on the health and safety of people and wildlife and building structures, not just today, but 10 years and 20 years from now.
So I would suggest that we deny it submitted and we'll reconsider it if you can give us a specific engineering drawing. Is that your feeling, committee?
Yes, I approve that.
Okay.
Can I get, just so this doesn't go on and I don't keep submitting, can I get a conditional approval as long as I can provide a stamped piece so I don't have to go back through this whole process? Is there an option to do that?
Which process is that?
To submit to the ACC weeks and then have this discussion again? Can I just, if I hear you guys saying correct, if I hear correctly that you guys will approve this, if I provide some letter from structural engineer that says there is, that wall is not necessary there. Like if I get a structural engineer that says specifically that retaining wall doesn't need to be there, is that enough for you guys to approve? And if so, can I get a conditional approval? And then when I provide that letter, I don't have to resubmit, wait, and go through this.
I feel like there are too many loose ends with that approach. Does anybody feel
Is
comfortable
there
with that?
maybe a compromise situation? I don't know if we have precedents for this before, but would it be possible for Vitaly to obtain this stamped declaration from an engineer and send it by email to the board so that we don't have to wait for the next meeting? And could we approve it electronically? And that might be a, addressing his time sensitivity and also our desire to see the right thing being done.
It
And I
creates,
agree with Alan and would vote on that particular approach.
it creates a huge burden on admin to do that. And if this were the only thing holding the house back,
That's
I
the thing.
wouldn't be speaking up, but the problem is with the front retaining walls. And I don't think it's going to be resolved before the next meeting.
Yeah, I would really like to see a resubmission with some of these questions answered before we approve it.
Great.
In answer to Vitaly's question, whether there's
I don't think we should.
such a thing as conditional approval, there is no such thing that we can vote on for conditional approval, Vitaly.
Great. Can you guys point out some of the other things that are a concern to you, so I have a checklist so that I don't come back in 2 weeks and then, oh, we don't like the color of your mulch or something else, so that I can cover it and so that it's just
I think if you
Is there
adhere to the
anything
original
else?
plan, you'll be fine.
Well, that's not an option at this point. The original plan was drawn up by an architect in an office 4 or 5 years ago, and we only had so much information when we submitted it, and that's why there's a process to get
Well,
a
I mean,
change.
that's what was approved. And we're not sure what your next submission is going to be. I mean,
It'll be the same as it is right now, to not do a retaining wall, accompanied by a report from a structural engineer that says he's not going to require, or he's okay without that wall being there. Is there
theoretically, I
anything for me
think
to
you would
consider?
not have a problem with that. Everything
So-
else seems to be okay, but we'll need to see
Diane?
that and go through the same process.
Diane, what about the status of the front retaining walls on the right of way?
It's in the hands of the general manager. I checked with her before the meeting to see if we had an update, because I knew this would come up. And at this point, there is no update because it's, it has to do with legalities. Joel, I was gonna ask you, that what he's referring to is the final. Doesn't this house have a final pending this approval?
Yeah, it's pending. He needs to. That agreement needs to be done.
But other than that, nobody can come back and say we don't like mulch, right?
No.
Yeah.
This
Right.
is Sun Valley. It wouldn't be the first time something happens like that.
But
Yeah.
I think what I hear being said is that there are two distinct different issues here. One, this pertains only to the rear retaining wall. That's the only thing we're voting on talking about here. There may be other issues, but that's being handled through a different track.
Mr. Chairman, may I propose a motion?
Sure. And unless there are any other comments.
Any other comments?
No.
I would like to propose a motion to deny item 15, 18 Sun Valley's request as submitted.
And you know what we need, Vitaly. All in favor of John's motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay. Are you here for anything else, Vitaly?
No.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's jump down to item 19. Anton? 14 Deer Run Lane.
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Anton.
Hello.
But I don't want to. I know there are a couple other attendees here with smaller projects.
Sure.
If you'd like to get some out of the way.
Okay, if you don't mind, Anton.
I think TJ's here for 181 Polo Park.
Okay, that's fine.
Thank you, Anton.
Usually new constructions are saved till the end because they take more time.
Which one did you refer to, Joel?
Let's see.
Item 30, 181 Polo Park.
Okay.
And he also has 19 and 20.
Okay, item 30. 181 Polo Park Drive. Harry?
Hey, guys.
Hey. I saw a little interchange on Facebook about this issue. I apologize that we didn't have any specifics for you about staying and our policies, but that brought up an interesting issue that we'll look at. Thank you for submitting this for us.
Oh, yeah, no worries.
Anybody have any questions or issues with this one?
Just a really quick one, please. The exterior lighting for the house numbers, are those shining toward the building or like through the lights, through the numbers themselves? Just curious.
No, they're towards the building. They
Okay,
don't
great.
shine. They don't shine forward.
Excellent. Thank you.
Is that a Tesla in the front yard?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It's got a flat tire. Listen, I wouldn't suggest them if, you know.
Oh, interesting.
The one on the left?
I don't know which one. The one
looks like a spaceship.
The car, yeah, it just depends. The car, it's gotten 2 flat tires, so it's got a, yeah, and then you gotta tow it to Linwood, and it's stupid.
Unless others have comments, I would move to approve as submitted item 30.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right, Terry, go get that car fixed.
All right, thank you, guys.
See ya.
Then 21 would be the other non-build.
Thanks, Diane.
Which one are we doing next?
Item 21. This is Dan, is that what it?
Yeah,
41
I'm here.
Cascade Lane.
Yeah, I'm looking to get the deck replaced and extended.
Oh yeah, this is one with all the details.
Yeah, I believe Andrew sent you the full, pretty much everything he plans to do.
We did have a question on this one pertaining to what looks like to be similar deck designs. I'm looking
Page
for
9 and page
That's what I'm looking for.
I think it's 17.
There is an upper floor and lower floor
Deck, yeah.
deck, and we're going to replace both of those. And then on the upper, we're going to extend it around the south side of the building so that it comes back to the driveway for
Oh, there it is.
a couple of reasons.
Thank you, John. It is page 17 of 18. That's the upper floor deck framing plan that goes around the house.
Yeah.
Okay.
The original deck is just extending out on
Yeah,
the
main
downward
floor.
slope side.
Yeah.
And it's on both there's one on the upper floor and one on the lower floor. And so we're going to replace both of those because there's doors going out from both floors also onto those decks.
You have 2 decks right now?
Correct.
And then on the upper deck, page 17, you're adding a deck along the length of the house there?
Yeah, along the south side, that'll provide an egress for the upper floor, and it'll give me some more area to just kind of walk around and enjoy the forest.
Oh, yeah, what I was looking at was page 7 and page 17. It looks like they're both upper floor deck framing plans.
Let me see if
Right, actually, that's
Maybe 7 is supposed to be the main deck, main floor deck. It says it's upper floor and it kind of conflicts with
Right next to the engineer's seal.
page 17.
Yeah.
so page 17 and page 7.
7. Yeah.
I'm slightly confused. Both of my documents only go to page 9. Let's see here. Let me go back to what Andrew originally sent me.
Could we ask Joel to bring it up for us if possible? Item 21, page 7 and 17. Joel, are you there?
Yeah, sure. Let me grab it up here.
No, thanks. I'm not sure that that Daniel, the homeowner, can see it.
I can see it now. Thank you.
All right.
Oh, sorry.
Right here, item 21.
Yeah. Go to page 7.
3, 4, 5.
Right there. See where it says upper floor deck framing plan near the
Yeah.
and then if you go to page 17, it'll say the same thing.
But it shows the addition.
It shows the whole, yeah.
Addition on the side.
Right there.
Could you go back to the first one? I think all it is he's showing what it'll look like for the modified upper.
Oh, it's like a before and after.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. I think this was just he's showing what the original framing looks like and then what the follow-up is going to be. This is what I currently have, and those measurements are to the specs of my current foundation or current deck. And the secondary one is what we're planning to do, where we're going to expand to allow more area for me to kind of walk around and enjoy, but also it does give me a secondary egress in the event that my front door is blocked by fire for some reason.
So there's no setback issue here, right? You're 5 feet from the
Correct.
setback.
Yeah, none of this will be more than 5 feet from the house. And as far as the lot goes, this will only bring me up to about 16% of coverage
Yeah,
on the
I saw
lot.
that calculation. That's helpful.
It's a pretty small, older home.
Anybody have any questions or issues?
No, I'm good. I move to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, we're unanimous.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. So we have here. We should probably go to 18 Louise View, VJ and Yavasaki. I think they're waiting for us. We'll get to you, Anton.
Item number,
Item 25,
thank you.
18 Louise View Drive. This is where Joel comes in.
Sure. Yeah. All right, so we have had some updates with this one. That's come in just yesterday. In my report, it was missing a few items. They didn't really significantly affect the whole. They're mostly informational bits that are required for the AC policy. Dimension setbacks to eaves, show the existing wall lines of adjacent homes. Listed scales didn't match the drawings. But we have received a site plan which does show those. I'm going to be switching back and forth here a little bit between OneNote and our site plan review software. So we do now show, here's where the existing adjacent house is. We do have setbacks to eaves measured, and it is a pretty busy site plan. There's a lot of measurements on here. So sorry for the printouts. I know they turn out kind of small and there's a lot of detail that's lost. Let's see. There, yeah. What else do I have written up here? So there is a 22-inch fir along the left or the west side of the lot. It is either under shared or complete ownership with the neighbor, and I believe he's here today. VJ is in attendance. He's at 16 Louise View. That's lot 8. So it is, probably significantly close to the proposed construction, or at least the extent of the excavation. The trees, probably my guess is likely to be damaged, but I always recommend an arborist come out and evaluate the tree.
And of course, we would need approval from a neighbor to get that.
Yes. And so that removal.
Joel, I'm also here on behalf of Yevstachy.
Is this yeah? So there is a bit of a language barrier here with Yevstachy. Is that?
This is Ilya. I'm
Ilya.
on behalf of Yevstachy.
Thanks, Ilya.
Yep.
So Ilya can translate for us if we need to.
Okay.
Let's see. One thing that this probably will be pending is the stormwater and the sewer are planned to go out back across. This is Sun Valley Park lot up here. There is a designated sewer connection from an existing sewer line. And then it's also proposed to run the stormwater through that park
Do you know if that
lot.
was on the original plat, Joel?
What's that? These sewer lines?
I guess
there is a manhole I've observed down there, and that's usually what this S25-4 signifies. So these are usually there. These maps are provided by Lake Whatcom Water Sewer District. They come out and they'll tell you where you're going to connect to the sewer, and usually the water. And water's up front at the front corner of the property.
But SVCA has to give approval for that connection through that property.
Correct. And so I've informed the builder too, hey, you'll need to get an easement for that sewer connection. And then also if he's proposing a plan, I think the original proposal was to run the stormwater out the back also, because we're going downhill, and run that stormwater all the way to the ditch at Lake Louise Boulevard, Lake Louise Drive.
Right.
And then, so that will also require an easement. If one's not obtained, I think there is an alternate plan on the site plan, which shows, and here's where I'll Hop over here, which shows the stormwater. So here's the stormwater system, catch basin. It flows into this filtration. And here's the red line coming out. This is the one that would cross the park. That's not an option. And there's a detail to pump the water up the street all the way up into the ditch.
Up into the ditch.
Yep, that's correct. So kind of similar to what we had last. Is that sound right, Ilya?
Yeah, so if we're not allowed to, if we're not able to get an easement to send it down to the ditch, we will be installing a pump to pump that up to the top.
Okay, is that always approved, Joel? That second approach?
The pump uphill?
Yeah.
Yeah, generally,
That's
yes.
pretty standard.
Okay.
Yeah. Other things.
Joel, go back to
Yeah.
about two before that you were showing. It had something, the one before that.
Was I on the other site plan here?
Well, it didn't have as much detail on it.
Yeah, so I've got two different software programs we use. Sometimes I use OneNote to present and draw things on. Some detail is lost though when we zoom in.
No, but go like what's the lot 10? There was one that had had the address, and then it had, go back one other one.
Sorry.
The water district one? Patrick?
Oh, the map. Yeah,
Yeah, the map.
the connection map.
Yeah, this shows 18 Louise View Drive, and then right next to it, it just says Louise View Drive.
Yeah.
And then it's got 20 Louise View Drive on the other one. So what is that?
What's
this one? Yeah, right. The one.
What's on Louise View Drive?
Yeah, who owns that?
We can find out.
I thought it was Sudden Valley. I thought there was a green space there.
Yeah, I believe that's owned by Sudden Valley.
Yes, that's correct. So there's not an address on there. It's just called Louise View Drive. Yeah, but it has a lot 10.
Okay, go back to that diagram. Yeah, it looks like actually there's less of a slope on that property than on the one that he's trying to build on. I mean, that looked like it was quite a drop, and especially with all those trees that are going to have to be out to be able to put that in there. I wonder how much support they're going to have that things don't wash out.
That was a very steep property back there.
Yeah.
So if there are slopes on the sides of the house that are greater than 2:1, right, they can be corrected by terraced retaining walls. We didn't have the one thing we were missing was the elevations at each wall on the elevations pages.
Joel, we emailed that over to you, I believe, yesterday.
On the elevations.
Yeah, all the elevations.
Did it come from you or?
Let me ask Alex. Yevstachi sent those over to you. Those got correct. Those got all marked on every corner. They were sent around noon yesterday.
I've got one at. Let me show you my email. Got one here with the site plan on it. This one.
That looks correct. That's from yesterday.
Yeah, it's from yesterday. It just has the site plan though. I don't have any elevations pages.
Oh, okay. Well, give us a second. We'll send that right out to you.
But we do have another the neighbor at 16 Louis View in attendance. Is that right, Diane?
Yes.
And I know there's some so we do have some concerns.
Regarding the tree?
Oh, I probably at least, and there's some other things I think Daniel wanted to.
Yeah, it looks to me like a lot of these, because we're pushing the boundaries on this property coverage and lot coverage, we're going to be looking at the trees, especially the neighbors' trees. I don't think you can assume that you can just cut down the neighbors' trees because your structure is too close to their property.
Right. Yeah, and we're not planning on cutting that tree without getting permission and approval from
And
Sudden
also
Valley.
there's a big drip line that you need to consider too. I mean, you might not cut the tree, but you might cut the roots. Because you're asking for so much lot coverage, you may need to give us a little bit more space there. Because you're
Yeah, and
pushing the
we,
lot coverage, the property coverage. I mean, we're going to be looking at this pretty hard, and there's going to have to be a real compelling reason for you to have to cut down as many trees as you're cutting. That's kind of a big concern here. Committee, do you have any comments about that?
Yeah, is there a way that you can go ahead and shift it more to the right?
Yeah, what are the setbacks here on these, Joel, on left and right?
Yeah, so we did shift the house over to give more room to that tree.
Yeah, setbacks on the right are 6. Excuse me. 6.3 feet on the right, and that is true. They did move the shift the house a little bit to the right.
Yeah, I know the neighbor has his hand raised.
Avoid damage to that tree.
Yeah, VJ.
But the tree is
I think I need to promote him to a panelist temporarily to maybe get him to be able to speak. Would that be okay with you?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Takes a second to shift. Okay. VJ, are you able to speak now?
Are you able to speak?
There
Can
you
you-
go. There you go.
Yeah.
We got
Thank you. Thanks for the promotion.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, please
Okay,
go
great.
ahead.
Thank you. You had questions?
Yeah, you had some concerns that you wanted to voice.
Yeah, and I'll be brief because I think I've outlined them. The first one is that I have a concern about the boundary, and I think the boundary has been moving. I could not find I think I demonstrated that there is no pin there right now on the southwest. I'm sorry, the southwest for number 18, southwest corner for them.
Joel, is that a valid concern? Is that something that is possible?
So the pin would be right here in the southwest corner. I thought we did observe the property corner there, but
It
the
was
pins
there,
are
Joe,
yeah, the
but
pins
it's not there now.
sorry?
It's not there today.
Yeah,
it's
the
missing.
property originally was surveyed, and then the neighbor, for some reason, kept moving the corner from the original surveyors that marked it. And so Alex kept putting it back.
No, we
That
have
was going to
not
be one of
touched.
the
Yeah,
concerns.
I'm sorry.
That would have
I'm
been one of the concerns as
I'm
well.
sorry, the corner pin has not been moved at all by us.
Okay, so originally it was surveyed, and then it has moved in about 4 feet by somebody. We're not sure who. And Alex moved it back. Eustachi. He
Are you
put it
talking
back to
about
where it was originally
the pin?
surveyed.
Are you talking about the pin?
Not the pin, the corner stake.
Corner stake is not as critical as the boundary pin. There is no boundary pin now. There was one when I actually had some work done by a plumber who actually located it on the right top corner of the, if you're looking from Louis View downslope, on the right top corner of the water meter plate. It was then moved to the left side, a brand new pin, which I observed had been put in, and now it's not there today. So
Well,
something
when
is
we went to
moving.
go look at the property today, it looked like it was pretty close to a lot of trees that would be cut. What we saw looked like that tree would definitely be damaged, the one in the back on the left. I mean, I don't even know what we're looking at now. If this property line is in dispute, what can we do to confirm where the actual line is, what the setbacks are? Is this a valid concern that we should be? What we saw today, it looked like these trees were right on the border. I'm not sure if this is the drawing that reflects what we saw today, or is this the drawing that shows that it's been moved, the house?
Yeah, this is the most what you're seeing right now on your screen is the most recent update, and the plans that you had received on Friday as part of the packet had this house shifted to the right, if we're facing the front lot, or to the east, to help avoid damage on that tree. But I mean, it is.
Is that tree on this drawing?
Yeah, it is right here.
It's right on the property line.
Joel? It appears you're on page 14 of item 25.
Ooh, is it sharing the wrong 14?
Yeah.
Uh,
May I ask a point of clarification? If you scroll upward, the distance from the property line, I'm sorry, the other direction. I'm looking at the driveway now.
okay.
The driveway access. We saw stakes today that sort of outlined what we thought were that boundary right there that you have your pointer on, from the driveway to the property line. Can you give us a general sense of what the distance is from the property line to the edge of the driveway on the left, please?
Yeah, this distance here from the
Yes.
corner of the lot to the edge of the driveway.
Right.
So this is measuring it at 8 feet 8 inches.
I think what we saw was about 5 feet. Is that what you remember, John?
Or less.
Or less, yeah.
It looked like it was directly, if I was reading the stakes and the ribbons correctly, the red lines, that driveway stake looked almost like it was on the property line.
That's what I remember.
So I'm having a bit of difficulty with this request based on those kinds of observations. I think the surveys and the stakes
So I have a
are
clarification.
possibly wildly off.
I know the stakes, and for things like that, those were done before they submitted. And so if they did move their house to the right a foot or a foot and a half, then
Yeah, that was before we moved the house.
it could have been off for that reason. At least that would explain some. some of the distance. Excuse me. Yeah, that makes sense. So it was staked out, and then, you know, we did our review, and then on paper, he shifted the house to the right, but all those stakes didn't get shifted over.
Can we see those stakes moved to the proper locations? At least we would get some clarification on these boundary issues and survey things.
The border line that we saw was just a wooden stake that, I mean, it looked like it could have been moved back and forth. I don't know. It didn't look like a real border that we should be considering when we're looking at the setbacks and the trees. I mean, the way it was set now, there would be a lot of trees that would be in the direct path of it. I'm not sure if that's accurate, but based on what we saw, a lot of trees would need to be cut down. And I'm not sure if that's all reflected here in this drawing. Are these trees with the X's on them all the ones that are supposed to be cut?
That's correct.
I'm not sure this design conforms to what Sudden Valley expects on a lot. This is taking up a lot of space. It doesn't really fit in with the neighborhood. It's crowded. There's a lot of trees that are coming down, and a lot of neighbor trees are going to get hurt. Why does this house have to be so big on this small lot?
And
on this challenging lot?
Pardon me, Daniel, and there are proposed supposed boundary issues with the existing lot number 8.
Yeah, basically, you know, we have uncertainty here, and I don't know. We're not here to blame anybody. We don't know what the issues are. We just need to know where the lines are. We went out there today to look at them. We spent maybe a half hour trying to discern what the issues were, where the borders were, which trees would have to come cut down. It looks like there's already been an issue with trees being cut down on this property. So we're very concerned, and we want to monitor very carefully which trees are cut down and which trees are not cut down.
Yeah, so the trees that, sorry,
go ahead.
The trees that were removed on this property, that one of the trees started leaning at the neighbor's house, and Sudden Valley reached out to Evstachi and said emergency tree removal needed, and that tree was leaning on a second tree, and both of those trees were causing or proposing a danger to the neighbor's house, and so we ended up taking down both of them because they were entangled together. The one was leaning on the other, and those got taken down per Sudden Valley's request, and not just by Evstachi wanting to take down a tree. He told the neighbor and Sudden Valley he didn't want that responsibility, but they said it was, so we ended up taking care of that.
Okay.
And may I ask,
we have no intention of cutting down more trees than needed.
And I'm not saying that you do, but it is our duty to make sure that we know what you're cutting down and what we're approving. That's why we want this clarification. And
and I would add that any cutting down of trees in an emergency situation is done with a licensed arborist, and that they're not cut down so that they fall onto pedestrian walkways and endanger lives, which I believe might have been the case in this instance.
Yeah, so the sidewalk was being watched, or that walkway has been being watched at the time of the tree cutting down, and some part of the tree did, the very end did lightly go over the walkway and was removed right away.
Well, I think two of the issues that we're looking at here are, we would like to go to this site again with a clearer vision of where the borders are, where the boundaries are, where the house is. I wasn't quite clear, and I want to see which trees clearly flagged that you proposing to be cut. I don't know you're going to get permission from any neighbors to cut down any of their trees or injure their trees. So I would also like to see a very specific tree removal plan, which is more than just we're cutting this tree, this tree. We need to know how you plan to cut it, what the safety issues are, and how you're going to mitigate those problems. So
Right. So all the trees that are in that questionable area are going to be removed in sections. They're going to be topped and then dropped in 16 to 24-foot sections. And we don't have any reason to take down the tree that's on the neighbor's property, and we don't have any need or desire for that. That's why we moved the house over, and we
Okay.
will be digging the foundation very narrowly to not hurt that particular root system.
And again, the reason we're really pushing you on this is, I mean, you are going pretty far out on the property coverage and the open space. I mean, you're pushing it right to the limit. So that's why we're really scrutinizing this one. But I think
I
the
understand.
committee agrees that we need to see where the property lines are. I'm not sure how that works, Joel. I mean, what could we look for to be more confident in what the boundaries are?
Yeah, where those any above ground stakes, like wooden stakes or plastic stakes, those can be moved around.
Right.
Look for is those pins that are set into the ground. Usually a piece of rebar is capped with usually a yellow plastic cap.
So if those, yeah, if we
are-
could see those more clearly, I assume those should be there, right? They're there with every property, right?
Yeah, those are supposed to be
They're not there.
only set and moved by a licensed and certified
And I
surveyor.
believe the rebar with the caps are on all four corners.
Okay, yeah, if we could see those more clearly. And are the trees that are marked now, are those the ones that you're planning to cut, or is there a change to that?
Let me ask Evstachi.
And while you ask him, I just want to add one final comment that I'm averse to pumping the stormwater up to the ditch. So that might be a bit of a challenge for you in terms of getting the rights to that easement to pump it or to allow it to gravity feed downward.
Right.
May
So
I
yeah,
ask at this point?
Joel, do you have those reservations?
About stormwater,
Yeah.
I think it's always a good idea to have things be gravity fed and not rely on mechanical pumping, right? In case there's a power outage, and there commonly are. Then you can't pump stuff uphill. I think, yeah, running things with gravity is a first choice, and I think that's their first choice as well.
yeah, if we get
that easement is
permission.
Yeah, they have to get that easement, I think, granted from the executive board. Is that right?
I think that's right.
I
Or
have a
some
question, Daniel.
Yes, go ahead.
My question especially regarding the pumping uphill, if you approve it, it's going to impact my site because it's going to be going downhill past my location, and I don't think that stormwater ditch can accommodate that level of water. Right now, it's hardly seeing any water flowing. And it doesn't have as steep a slope as on that side, on Louis View, as do other places. So if you're pumping it up, there's going to be a volume of water coming through. And there's a very small hole in that ditch going through the driveway.
Where are you dumping your stormwater? The neighbor.
Are you asking?
Mr. Singh?
Yeah, ours goes downhill.
Yeah, so we would love to get an easement to go downhill. That would be our preference. But we provided both designs, pending the easement, because more than likely it might not get approved.
So Joel, who reviews that if they're planning to go uphill with that? Is that maintenance or
for uphill?
Yeah.
Mike Brock would review because it's entering the Sudden Valley right away there, and there's minimum sizes for culverts and burial depth and slope. So Mike would review the plans. We would review we would inspect the culvert during the driveway inspection. But the county comes out and actually inspects the stormwater system itself.
Okay.
I have a suggestion that if you're seriously considering uphill, that, and I know this is a little out of ordinary, that the neighbor's plan includes cutting through Louis View Drive and entering the ditch on the other side of the street. Because that is a ditch, that is a deep ditch, and it's used to carrying volumes of water. The side on which we are does not carry any volume of water of any kind.
Bill, does
So-
maintenance consider neighbors' concerns for this, or how does that work?
Usually when Mike reviews the site plan for the REPA approval, he'll do a site visit and take a look around and see if there's any issues.
Okay, so he doesn't consider neighbors' concerns at that point. That's not really his.
I'm sure he'll certainly yeah, he'd be open to them and hear them.
How could he hear those? Through you, or how would the
Yeah,
neighbor-
when I guess if during Mike's REPA review, I could leave him a note to reach out to the neighbor and during a site visit. to hear
BJ,
cons-
would your email suffice to get to our maintenance people to clearly outline your concerns, or do you want to?
Absolutely, I'm open to that.
Okay, so we could just
Thank you.
forward that to him, just so he knows if it comes to that point. So I think what we need is a clear vision of what the boundaries would be, so we can review the site again with that in mind. And I didn't hear what the answer was about the marking of the trees on this drawing. Are those the ones that?
Yeah, so I think that tree on the property line is marked, but after consulting with Joel and considering the neighbors' concerns, that tree is marked, but we will not be planning on removing that tree.
Okay, so could we also get a more accurate marking of trees? And we need, Joel, how could he put together a tree removal plan? Is that how, how it's going to be done, the segments? Is that something that you could help him with, or how could that happen?
Yeah, so you want to see like the house, just the footprint of the house and all the trees?
All the trees and the plans for removal,
Uh-huh.
are they going to be cut in 30-foot sections?
Yeah. Do you
Because
guys
it's such a close proximity to the other houses, and because there's been some
Yeah.
other issues, we need to be real clear about what's going to happen with these trees.
Ilya, do you know?
Yeah, the
Do you
trees are
have
going
a
to be
do you have a tree? Do you have a tree canopy plan? Something that was submitted to the county that shows the
something that shows how the trees are going to be removed.
let me show you an example here. I mean, something, would that be helpful, David? Whoops. Something like a tree.
Yeah, I mean, we could do that, provide that if that's necessary.
Yeah, I mean that,
That
and
would-
also a description of how they'll be taken down. I mean, more
Yeah,
than
just
just
if
more than
we-
just which trees, but what your plans are.
Oh yeah, just like I said, topped off at the very top and removed.
Yeah, if you
in
if you could-
16 to 24-foot chunks.
Okay, I mean that
And then
that sounds
some-
reasonable to me. But we need to
Wouldn't it
see
be
that.
up to the tree person that they hire?
Yeah.
Yeah,
correct.
I would think that would be
And
part of
the
what the
same
plan
the
would
same
be. So
tree
this,
person, the same tree person that he's using, we used on all the other properties, and that's what has been done to
so I would think he would
mitigate
be able to
any.
help you complete that plan. But we'll need to see that.
So is this a standard procedure?
You
You want to see a tree section plan for every tree?
Well,
kind of
we've
section is
had
being
some
removed?
issues in Sudden Valley, and also there's been some issues on this property,
Oh,
and
right.
and
Yeah,
because
so
of,
we will.
and because of the property coverage and the open space. I mean, you are asking a lot of us. I mean, you're still in the legal limit, but you are pushing boundaries on just about every parameter here.
Yeah. No, we
And that's why we're
understand.
scrutinizing this. We're not trying to single you out. This is just a major concern because we're looking at the safety of our neighbors. And this,
100%.
we're trying to learn our lessons from bad experiences we've had.
Yeah, I've heard of a couple earlier this year.
Yeah,
Unfortunate
yeah,
situations.
yeah.
So yeah,
And
okay, yeah, I could draft just you want a written paragraph of how the trees are going to be removed?
Yeah, if that could
Yeah.
be done by an arborist or the person who's going to be cutting your trees,
Yeah, no problem.
that would be
a,
great.
a written plan with a diagram is always helpful. And
So
Mr. Chairman,
the site plan shows all the trees. So you're asking us to go remark, double check the trees that are getting cut down, double check, and move the house over as per the site plan. And then you wanted to do another visit and a written paragraph of how the trees are going to be taken down.
Yes. And we do want to
Okay.
ensure that none of the neighbors' trees are damaged even. You're not going to cut them down, but we want to make sure they're not damaged too. So there is a calculation for that as to, the root distance.
Do we want that tree canopy as well, the diagram?
Yes, yes.
and just to be
We could provide the tree canopy, but I think unfortunately the tree canopy of the tree that's on the neighbors / Stocky's property will actually interfere with the roof, so it will need to get slightly limbed, and the root system most definitely is very narrowly going to get damaged by the installation of the foundation. There's no getting around that.
Well, that's one of the problems with spreading a house out as far as you possibly can. We're going to try
Right, but
to avoid hurting that tree. If it's part of the neighbor's tree, we're going to try to save it, unless
No, for sure,
unless
yeah.
the
And
neighbor's
that's
okay with it.
and that's our that's our plan as well.
Okay.
That's why we moved the house as far as possible to the right to try and save that tree for sure.
And I hope we could all agree, Mr. Chairman and homeowner, that when these things get approved, that there will be plenty of advance notice for tree removals and the like. Thank you.
Yep.
So I think you know what we need to see, and I think our motion is to deny as submitted. But I think you have a clear idea of what we want to see next time.
Who made the motion?
Can you by any chance provide give us a conditional approval if we provide the paragraph of how the trees are going to get removed?
No, I think we
No,
by the
go
arborist.
ahead.
that we don't do conditional approvals.
Yeah, this
Okay.
this one is
Understood.
very difficult, so we would really like to re-review it because we're
Okay,
gonna have to look
understood.
at the site again too. We're gonna have to go
Understood.
back there again.
And I'm also representing 31 Harborview. That's my lot
Okay,
for the retaining wall. I was wondering if you guys can do that one right away as well.
we could do that next. The motion was to deny as submitted.
Who made that motion, please?
Item 25,
Yeah, who
motion
made,
to deny.
yes. Is that John?
So what would you guys
Mr. Chairman,
recommend?
I made the motion, I think.
Okay, and did you vote yet?
No, we didn't.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Aye. All opposed? Unanimous. All right, thank you for that one. I'm sorry, which other one are you looking at?
18.
31 Harborview,
Okay,
the retaining wall.
yep.
Item 18.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So this photo,
Correct.
Is
Yeah, the
this?
photo of the retaining wall with brick design.
Yes.
I was wondering if that's considered decorative and if it's approved as is, or did you guys want it painted or
Is this the
whatnot?
actual, this photo, is this the actual wall that you're talking about?
This is the actual retaining wall on 31 Harborview.
Okay, and so this is the driveway we're looking at,
Correct.
the dirt?
And I think the picture that you have doesn't have the railing installed, but the railing's all installed right
Okay.
now as well.
Okay. I like it unpainted and you've got that texture on it.
Yeah, many people commented and said it looks real good.
Anybody have any comments or opinions, questions?
No, I'm good with it.
Nope. Want to make a motion?
I move to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Was that Patrick?
Yes.
Opposed? Okay, we like this one.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, Anton. Thank you for your patience.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, we're on item 19. Thank you for waiting.
No problem.
Looks like this one gives us a little bit more wiggle room on open space and property coverage, and
Yes.
driveway is a concern though. That's still pretty steep. Want to walk us through it, Joel, please?
Sorry, I was muted. I lost my agenda. Is this 14 Deer Run or
This is item 19.
22
Yes.
grand?
14 Deer Run, yes.
14
Deer
here.
Run, okay.
Knitting needles. Is that the name of the color? Hardy plank, knitting needles. I like that.
Okay. I'm just gonna run this through my other software. Here we go. Sorry, folks. There we go. I had it open and it got closed. And then report. What did I put in here? Okay. So I think similar, same house plan for 22 Grand Circle, but they're distant apart.
Correct.
ACC does, want to avoid homes that are close together that do appear the same. There's a variance here for less than 1,000 square foot footprint. But the total interior space is well above 1,000. There is, so one thing to consider is retaining walls are proposed to be painted. The paint is a pre-approved color. The normal policy requires for wood screening or exposed aggregate. So take that into consideration during the approval. And then what else did I put here? Put on a spec sheet. Things like that. Excuse me. Yeah, we are at 24% driveway slope, so we are approaching the maximum. Seems to meet other policy requirements. He Yep, he's come back with revisions to meet other ACC policy requirements. I don't have any other issues on this property.
Setbacks are all good on the sides.
Yep, we're 5 on the side here to the these stairs.
Okay.
We
Tight.
are, what are we, 8 to the eaves, 8 and 7/16 of an inch. The front setbacks, let's see, where are we at here? You know, to the roof.
26 feet.
Yeah, 26 and 11, 26/8. There are some steps. Oh no, here's our 20-foot setback line. So those steps are not in the front setback.
So the 5 feet goes to the stairs on the top there.
Yep. So these stairs are within the setback line. Here's our 5 feet from the stairs, and the stairs are 20 from the front. Our setback line is this dashed line.
Okay, yeah, that helps.
That makes sense.
Looks like a well-placed home. Joel, may I ask you, one of the
Yes.
recommendations is to review trees. Are we, can we get tree reports or what have you? I don't seem to see it in some of these new construction reviews.
Yeah, I put trees in there kind of as it's almost every report because I'm but yeah, if you let me know what you'd like to see as a part of a tree report.
I think we'd always like to see that.
Tree removal report.
Yeah.
Something that's really kind of very clear that knuckleheads like we can figure out.
Yeah, I know it's hard. You're always welcome to come in and see the hard copy plans, or if you want me to email plans, I can do that as well. I know it's hard to see, excuse me, sometimes the removals on the plan sets, excuse me, because you receive a letter sized paper and it's hard to tell, but these are the trees that are being proposed to be removed.
Right. I think that's the issue.
Yeah.
One of the issues, right?
It's hard to make a determination with the packet you're given.
Yeah, and mainly the neighbors' trees is what we're looking at too. Make sure that they aren't slated to be cut down and surprise the neighbor, or even if that they're gonna destroy the neighbor's roots.
There's no neighbors. It's all green zone all around this property.
Well, green zone is a neighbor too.
Yeah.
Parks are parks.
We won't be touching any of those.
Okay. So that is a steep driveway. Is there a way to walk up?
We're thinking of a rake finish or grooved.
Yeah, I think raked finish is the one we talk about, right, Joel?
Right.
But I'm also thinking about walking up. I see a lot of these really steep driveways over 20 that need stairs too.
Yeah. When we go to dig, we're gonna try to plant the house as low as we can to make that driveway less steep. I want it to be way less than what it is now.
Yeah, those driveways scare people. We've had requests for people asking for street parking because they're afraid to go up their driveways.
Yeah, this is the worst case scenario.
I think it's also important to mention that on January the 1st, the slope goes from a maximum of 25% to 20%. I think builders need to keep that in mind
Mhm.
on January 1st, 2025.
So, what about some stairs there next to the driveway?
Yeah, if it's gonna be as steep as now, then yes, we'll add some.
If, I would say if it's over 20,
Okay.
I
That, that's fine.
committee, do you, think that's fair?
Yes.
Yes.
What kind are they? Could they be built out of wood or do you want poured concrete?
How do you guys feel?
I don't
I-
think, I think it fits in with the home, the way it looks.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
even the landscape stone, the big long blocks they have, that would look pretty nice.
I think we're open to all sorts of suggestions. I think those are good options.
Yeah, I agree. I've seen all of those done very well and work very well. So that, I think that's a nice mitigation for this steep. We understand you're working on some difficult terrain out there and appreciate you helping us out on that.
Mhm.
Is that something you keep track of then, Joel?
Yeah.
Okay,
It,
thank
it
you.
would, if you made a approval conditional too, it would be in
Okay.
his letter.
Okay.
And all those. I have it written down as a note. Are there any stairs that you'd be opposed to? Would you like to see the stairs at some point? Whatever will be proposed, whether it be concrete or wood or stone.
Yeah, I think a construction change would be good.
Okay. So when it's decided,
Yeah, yeah,
show put a construction change request in. Okay.
yeah. So would that construction change include the raked surface, or are we putting that in the motion now? For your bookkeeping, Joel.
Oh, whatever you, yeah, if that's gonna be part of your motion.
Okay. Anybody have any other questions, issues? Are we okay with the tree situation?
Yeah, I think I'm good.
Yep, I'm good.
Okay, so move to approve with a raked surface on the driveway and stairs to be approved with a construction change?
That's number 19, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And okay, we'll do that first, then we'll do 20.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. And the variance,
I'll move to motion item 20 as presented.
move to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, unanimous.
Daniel, was it your motion for 19 to approve with the conditions?
Yes.
Thank you.
Is that all we have for you, Anton?
No, I have 22 Granite Circle.
22.
It's 36 and 37.
Right at the end there. Okay. Make us feel like we're almost done.
And yet we're not.
All right. Pretty copy paste on my report here. There's a variance in 1,000 square feet because it's sub 1,000 square feet. The footprint, painting retaining wall, spec sheet, variance.
That cyberspace is very popular.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
It just sounds cool.
It's really trendy right now to paint houses gray and black and dark modern colors.
Black is finally the new black.
I'll motion to approve item 36.
Yeah, comments, questions?
I just had a question about the tree removals again. I'm sorry, it's
Sure.
it still seemed unclear to me. I'm looking at item 36, page 11. Is that an understanding of what trees will be removed?
Let me take a look here. Item 36, page 11.
It looks like a replanting.
Okay, yeah, this is their landscape plan.
It's a landscape plan. Is there,
So ferns and 3 trees?
Yeah, so this shows what's going to be planted. Trees in the ferns along the side, cedar trees in the back, ferns along the side, cedar tree in front.
Joel, how many trees will be cut down? It's hard for me to read that.
Here, let's take a look at we'll pull up the plan. And this one is difficult because it's a scan. It was a physical copy that was turned in and then we scanned it in. Let me pull up the version where we can see all the I'll mark all the trees here.
there we go.
Here we go. It's 1, 2, 3. There was actually a tree over here. I think it was maybe that cedar, which there's a new construction on 24 granite that they had to get written approval from this neighbor to remove that tree because it's getting impacted by what was being built. All right, I think that's it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 trees.
All right, I think maybe we should add to the motion that replant 1 for 1.
That's fine.
I think it's 1 to 3, isn't it? But anyway,
Well, it was your motion. Who made the motion actually?
I did.
Okay.
may I ask for clarification on the tree removal?
Of course.
The tree closest to Granite Circle in the red, is that in the easement? It appears
This
to
one, this one up here, yes.
Correct.
It looks like it is in the.
I guess I'm wondering why the necessity to remove that tree. It looks like close to the driveway, but it's
Is that right in the
16-inch
culvert?
tree. Yeah, 16-inch tree. Few feet from the driveway. I don't know.
Yeah, the position of this culvert probably could be placed maybe a little bit, maybe better, probably be better served to show it here based off the topography of the ditch.
Yeah.
From what I can see.
The roots will impact the driveway.
क्योंकि अब बोलेगा कि मैं
Don't get riled up, that will irritate them even more.
किसको
इन लोग को
नहीं नहीं कुछ नहीं मैंने अच्छी तरह से सीधा
Would you be satisfied with the replanting for that one, John?
I haven't visited the property, but so I would give a qualified yes to that answer.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to do a 1 for 1 or you want to change that?
Ideally, I'd like to see it, but I would like to hear other comments from the
What's the
community.
size of that tree?
16-inch, I
16
think.
inch? Okay.
Why does that have to come down?
I believe you said because of the driveway. As you cut in your driveway, this
It
edge of
will,
the driveway.
it will crack the concrete as it moves.
How close is that tree to the driveway? Do we have a tool to help us with that?
I can measure it. Sometimes these trees though aren't placed
Oh,
Not that the
incredibly
drawing's not
accurate.
accurate.
On the
Right.
survey. I'll take that out.
I think I would suggest moving forward with this with the idea that that tree be preserved until we can determine it's an SVCA property, so I think we have a little bit of an opportunity and a responsibility to make sure that it's preserved if possible. I'd like to see it.
Okay, just most of the tree root will be under the driveway, and then for the culvert, it will, I mean, I'd say 50% of the roots will be compromised.
That's a cedar.
Yeah, I can replant as much trees as I need to.
If the committee's okay with it, then, you know, I'm fine with the replanting ratio.
1 to 1, 2 to 1, 3 to 1? What? You pick, John.
Well, the policy says, 1 taken down, 3 planted. So I'd say just go with the policy.
Okay. I think Anton's okay with that.
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
So let me revise my proposal. I propose to approve item 36 with the provision that 3 trees be replanted for each one that has to be removed.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Okay, you're good. Plant those trees.
Do you want to do 37, which is the 1,000-foot thing? I'll move to approve 37 as well.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay.
You got a twofer.
Thank you, Anton.
Right, thank you.
So for
Yeah.
clarification, that 3 to 1, if there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 trees here marked.
Yes.
So replant 21.
21 trees.
Okay.
Yes.
No problem.
Thank you, Joel.
And no preservation of that tree in the front, correct?
Correct.
No.
All right.
Do we have anyone else waiting, Diane?
Yeah, we have John. Actually,
David Schwartko had a smaller change request.
Okay.
I think.
And
Let's,
so did John Gordon.
let's take 5, everybody, okay?
Okay.
Taken 5 and then changed my mind. I want what else again. And there were people who know this, one was paid with in instead of this topic. New construction, but that's always a local one is new construction. Oh, yeah. I think that I risked this one out, I have this one. This out. Oh, my God.
Anyone there? Hello? Has a
I,
committee meeting?
yeah,
Hello?
no, hello.
Yeah.
I muted everyone because we took a 5-minute break.
Oh, who am I speaking with?
This
Is
is
this
Diane.
Diane? Can I speak with you for a minute?
Well, we're speaking, but not privately, so. You can text me if you'd like, or give me a call at the office.
Can I leave a message at the office? Because something has happened right now. I had the
Okay.
contractor's rep come to my door and ringing the bell,
Okay,
and I'm concerned about that. I will email you right now.
okay, email, good,
Please communicate with Dania.
okay.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Bye.
Everybody back?
Looks like Pat and Joe Jean aren't.
And I did mute everybody while you were gone.
Yeah, you don't want any embarrassing situations. Thank you, Diane.
Daniel, check your phone,
What?
check your text.
Oh. Hmm. All right, is Joe Jean here? Yeah, there she is. Joel, are you here?
Yeah.
Joel.
Roll call.
Here. Present.
don't think Joel's there because usually he would answer. Probably.
Yeah, he's usually pretty good about that. I think he said we're gonna go with David, right?
He didn't hear. He said David Sporko has a short one.
Okay.
And then I said John, so does John Borden.
Yeah.
So I think that's 20 Sweet Clover, which is 27.
Yeah. I'm sorry, did you say there were two of them, Diane?
I only know of one. but
Okay, 27, right, okay. Oh, we don't need Joel for this one, do we?
I don't think so. He doesn't vote.
All right, well, let's go ahead and start with 27, David. David here?
Not Stein.
No, not Stein.
20 Sweet Clover Circle.
Yeah,
I'm here.
David is here.
Sportco.
I'm sorry?
David Sportco is who you're looking for.
Yes. Okay, we're ready to go. Is this the house that we looked at with the floodlights?
Yep.
Okay. I thought it looked familiar. So has this all been installed already, or what? Where are we with this?
Some of them haven't been, some have not.
Okay, but then you're putting the stone on the front there
Yes.
by the garage? Is that right?
Yes.
Anybody have any questions, issues?
But you've already done the garage door and window and the office window?
Yes.
Okay, was that previously approved?
I don't think so.
Was there something on that, Daniel?
That would be a Joanne, Diane kind of thing.
Actually, Joel can answer.
Sorry, what was the question?
Well, the garage door and window and the office window have already been done and they weren't approved.
Right.
We're looking at item 27, page 3.
Page 1, page 2. Yeah, page 3.
That work has already been done. The door and the window in the bottom shot,
Correct.
according to David.
David, were you aware that you needed to do a construction change?
I was not.
Why did you see the change now then?
It was done during framing. And just getting approval now.
Bill, when do they become aware that that's the kind of thing that we need to see before they do it? Is that part of your initial meeting with them or what?
I tell them during our preliminary, sorry, not our preliminary, our pre-construction compliance review meeting. Yeah, so any changes that I usually tell them, you generally you can make changes, but they need to be approved first. Submit a construction change request. It happens pretty frequently. Someone wants to change their light fixtures or the paint. Yeah, and so David came into my office last week and showed me, hey, I want to make these changes, and I let him know we have to submit a construction change request to get these things approved.
So the office window, is that a typical design with the rest of the windows in the house? David?
Like a slider style window?
Yeah, is that the same style that the rest of the house has?
I think so.
Yeah, I think originally that room was just gonna be, was it just gonna be, maybe you already explained it, David.
It was supposed to be an unfinished storage, and there was a tank, water heater in there. We changed it to a tankless and we moved that to the garage. So that was just gonna be an empty space and we just wanted to finish it while we were building.
And what was the plan for that area where you're putting the stone? What was that gonna be? Originally?
It was supposed to be the siding all the way down to the concrete.
Anybody have any other questions or issues? Can we get a motion?
I move to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? All right, unanimous.
Thank you.
Get those construction changes into us. You're lucky we like these. All right, I think John,
There's a David Stein in attendance.
did we, oh, we didn't, let's talk to David Stein. I'm
Item
sorry, Dave.
28
Yeah, 28.
And
Yeah, I'm sorry.
29.
and 29.
I'm sorry, David, I crossed you out here. Okay. Yeah, we talked to David today. We went there and looked at his site. We had to give him the bad news about the size restrictions on these sheds. We have a restriction of 10 foot by 10 foot, 100 square feet. And he was hoping to put a 200 square foot shed in there, which I can certainly understand. I've got enough tools to fill that space myself. But we had to tell, he had the setbacks looked right. Everything looked good there, but yeah, we just couldn't set a precedent with allowing a larger shed on this property. Anybody have any comments about the situation?
Now, David, you talked about putting a smaller shed on.
It mentioned, and at this point, I mean, I'm open to it. You guys saw the shed that was there. It's pretty tired and I need to, replace it with something. After I talked to you, Daniel, I kind of went back and I looked at the actual thing and where it does mention it. It's the sentence is goofily prefaced with the phrase except where otherwise specifically approved. So I'm not exactly sure where that would come into play at any point, but
yeah, I mean, we talked about that a little bit. I mean, if you were going to come to us with a 10 by 12 and we thought it was, it fit in the space, we would certainly consider it. But a 200% change would be a little bit too much. But, you do have some space there. And I think I can't speak with the whole committee, but I would certainly consider a slightly larger shed. And I can understand why you'd want one too, because I would like one myself.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
committee, just to give him a sense of how we feel. I mean, is that something you would consider?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Patrick.
No, that'd be fine with me.
I was going to say likewise.
Yeah, so I guess at the sake of pushing the limit, I mean, is 10 by 12 kind of the limit you consider? Would you consider 10 by 14? I mean, for me, I guess I don't want to put you in a bad position.
No,
but
and you have to remember that this would be setting a bit of a precedent, because other people would say, okay, why did you give him that number and we can only have this number?
Yeah.
You can always, we'll just put another proposal together and we'll look at it. 12, I would think, would certainly be safe. You've done such a nice job with everything, and we do consider that too, because everything you've done there looks good. We know it's going to look good. If somebody came to us with a 10 by 12 that we knew was going to have, tin on the side and shingles on the other side, we would not even consider that. I don't think we'd even consider the 10 by 10 for that, but as far as that goes. But we all really liked what you did there so far. So you've got that goodwill going for you. That's all I can tell you for sure. I mean, I don't want to give you a number and say, as soon as you do a 10 by 12, we'll say good.
Yeah, okay.
So just to give you a sense of how we feel without giving you real concrete numbers.
Yeah. So
I could go with a little bit larger than 10 by 12.
Well, there's your goodwill going a little further, David.
Well, let's talk. Can we talk about height? We haven't talked about the height. If it's 10 by 14 and it's 20 feet high, that's a big ask.
Yeah.
So what's the height to the top peak of the roof?
So the top peak of the roof, so the way I have it designed now, the taller wall with the transom windows there will be probably about, I think, 10 foot. So I'm thinking that peak's probably going to be 11 and a half. Would that be all right?
I think that's pretty typical.
Yeah.
With that.
And David, can you tell us, will there be electrical wiring out to your shed?
At this point. No.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Yeah, I don't think so. No, I just put electric lights out there, like the little battery lights. It's just a storage shed, and I just need to have a place to put the stuff. So no electrical.
Thank you for that. And I think your reading of the accessory structures, except where otherwise specifically approved, is a very good point you're making. So it looks like we're somewhere between 120 square feet and 140 square feet for an approval. Do we have an motion, Mr. Chairman? Daniel?
You're muted, Daniel.
No, I think the motion would be to deny as submitted and, have.
That was going to be my point. Yeah, I would like to see the submission again.
All right.
Position.
So that's the motion. Can I get all in favor?
Aye. I made the motion. Pat.
All opposed? Okay, unanimous. Do you want to look at the trees also, or is your design going to change?
Yeah, I mean, we can look at the tree. The trees would still, I can resubmit them, but the trees would come out regardless of the size they'd have to.
Yeah.
You want to just resubmit then with that? New submission will just deny.
I mean, I have the documents. That's absolutely, I can do that.
Okay.
Why don't we just vote on it now and have one less item next month?
I did that for John because he's just dying to do a move to what was that one, John?
Postpone.
Postpone.
No.
Okay, we will did you want to make a motion on that, Patrick?
Sure. I move to approve the tree removal.
29.
29.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, we got to leave you with something, David. So it's unanimous.
I appreciate that.
Thank you for swinging by. Well, we'll see you again soon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
All right, bye.
Bye.
I keep muting because I think my wife is home and my dog's gonna bark like crazy. I might have to jump on that button. All right, I think we're at John now. Is that right?
Yeah, 23.
Okay, John, thank you so much for your patience.
Item number?
23. We've got a few for him, right?
Yep.
Okay. Hey, Joel, could you help us out on this one?
Sure. This
one
was, excuse me. This one was so 16 and 18 Shetland were the new constructions that were approved. Was it the last meeting? Or the meeting, I mean, it was the meeting before. And so each of them have a driveway that is coming down pretty close between these lot lines here. And there's a ditch between the road and the lots. And so, I kind of have to picture in your mind, these driveways are coming down next to each other. Well, each one needs a culvert underneath it. And the culvert would pass under the driveway of 18 and then open up. And then that water would then there'd be just a few feet till it meets the next driveway at 16 Shetland. And you kind of these driveways and their slopes and the ditch kind of creates maybe not a hazard, but it's just kind of a steep slopes all around it. And so, gravel and things like that could eventually go in there. So what's being proposed is to just connect those two culverts under the driveways with each other, with the catch basin in the middle. And then they can.
Would the total length of that be 40 feet then?
Well, the total, it might be a little bit more.
So is the catch basin enough to break that up, or
yes,
or
yeah. So because
that counts as a break?
Yeah, so but they couldn't have more than 40, if they went 40 feet of culvert to the right, then they need another catch basin here, or a 40 culvert to the left and they need another catch basin here. So they could theoretically go another 40 feet in either direction until they need another catch basin. So this catch basin sits right in the middle. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So how does this actually translate into driveway?
It doesn't change the driveway configurations any.
Okay, is this just sort of parking for construction or what?
No, I don't know. I don't think there'd be I don't know how much room there would be for parking there between the two driveways.
Joel, can I say something? Can you?
Of course, yeah, please.
I think basically you'd have one flare on the left and one flare on the right. And kind of not much in the middle in terms of flaring, right?
By the catch basin?
Just, yeah.
And I can't recall, is this where the driveways would be then? I can't recall what the original drawing was.
Yeah, the driveways. Let's see, 16 Shetland. And 18 Shetland. I thought I put them side by side in one of these as an example. So here's 16 Shetland. Here's 18 Shetland down here. 18 Shetland has its driveway. Whoops, on the north side. So this line of 18 Shetland driveway here let me re-snip that.
Are these two driveways gonna be touching each other?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering too.
15 feet
Probably
between.
just about, yeah. Let's see. This may not be scaled quite right, but to give you an idea. So here's those two driveways. Right. So probably not really a parking pad and not the intent of it.
But there,
And then the catch basin would be right here. It's exaggerated a little bit in size. Those culverts would connect to it.
and what's the distance between the edges of the two driveways?
I think it's 15 feet.
So that's a concrete driveway and then the quarry spall between. Is that what that is?
Yeah, there. Well, if it's gonna be, it would probably be covered with gravel. Is that right, John? You'd probably finish this area with gravel or quarry spall.
Or just pave it over or put a plate. I think Sergey mentioned a plate. You could put a plate down, and then if you needed to clean out the catch basin, you could detach it, the plate, and lift it up.
So the distance between the driveways is 15 feet and it's actually 7.5 feet to the property line.
More or less.
And the width of the driveways are
20.
Yeah, they should be 20.
So you got 20, 20 plus 15?
Yeah.
Okay.
So each culvert would be 30 feet maybe.
Okay.
Or 35. You have to come out, taper down with Croy spall to the extreme ends.
Yeah. Anybody have any questions about this?
I have a couple of comments.
Good, John.
John
Gingrich.
Yes, thank you. I would really like to see or have an exact measurement for this proposal. So what is the entire culvert length? Is it 40 feet? Is it 80 feet? What is it? And the second comment I have is that as of January 1st, 2025, culvert maintenance is being turned over to property owners by virtue of the board of director amendment. So in the future, let's say that culvert gets plugged up or someone runs over the catchment basin and destroys it. Whose responsibility is it for the owner at 18 Shetland or the next door neighbor to repair it and fix that? And again, we're not looking at just today, but 10 years or 20 years from now when ownerships change and things become a little bit less clear. But who's responsible for fixing that culvert or maintaining it into the future? So anyway, the total distance I would like to see of that proposed culvert with a pipe, and then also some explanation for who maintains it going forward as of January the 1st.
So clarification, there really are two culverts. It looks like one, but there's a catch basin in between. So I think each owner would be responsible for his own culvert. You could argue that the catch basin is a no man's land and you might need a homeowner agreement as to joint maintenance. If you're
Joel,
concerned,
is this a typical setup, Joel?
I mean, I'm trying to think if I've seen it. Pretty rarely do we have, trying to think of another situation. This is the first situation I think I have seen where we have two new constructions side by side where the driveways are next to each other. It seems reasonable to me. I think that having the catch basin there and leveling it off would actually make for less maintenance of those culverts and cleaning out those culverts than if there wasn't a catch basin there. That's my opinion.
Does Mike need to look at this at all?
Yeah, he'll have to approve it too.
Okay.
And I think it has been brought to his attention, and at the time I think he
Okay.
I think it needs to be proposed to him officially, but
yeah, it's a right of way
Mhm.
project, so he has to.
I'll look at it too then. Okay. Any other issues?
I still would like to get the distance from John Gordon about what we're exactly talking about. It's very unclear.
Okay, so let's go from the catch basin outward. So you have two separate culverts. Each one would be on the order of 35 feet or maybe 40 feet.
40 is the limit.
Yes, and 40 is the limit. So you've got the distance from the catch basin to the side of the driveway, which looks like it's about 7 feet for each one. And then you've got the driveway width of 20 or a little more because of the well, not in the middle. So from catch basin to the other opposite end of the driveway, let's say is with a little bit of flare, 30 feet. And then give you a little bit of extra room to taper down the sides per the specs for finishing off culverts as they come into the ditch.
So 80 feet?
Well, total, but you really have two culverts.
Right, attached by a catchment basin.
But yeah, catch
Okay.
basin.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions, issues?
No.
Can I get a motion? For 18 Shetland Court? Move to approve? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye. Nay.
Is that John?
Yes.
John is opposed.
I need more information.
All right, then we'll look at 16 Shetland
Sorry,
Court.
Daniel, that was your motion, right?
Yes,
And that passed by majority, correct?
yeah, majority.
Thank you.
16 Shetland Court, item 24. Same issue. Can I get a motion on that?
Motion to approve item 24 as submitted.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay, John.
Okay. Did you get that, Diane?
Yes, thank you.
All right, we've got 4 Sweet Clover. Is that you, John?
Yes.
Okay.
What item number?
This is item 26. Okay. Got that driveway problem. 25. 25%.
Excuse me. So, all right,
Yeah, talk us through it, Joel.
sure. So there was, sorry, I'm a little under the weather. There was a, request to make some revisions, and one of the comments I had made was to, indicate trees for removal on a site plan, and it was misinterpreted or some miscommunication. There was these trees at the front left corner of the house on the tree canopy plan. Looks like they are, scheduled to remain, but they're within a pretty close proximity to the extent of the excavation. And so my comment was to, I think, just, show trees which would be removed. Excuse me, and then the designer just, deleted the trees off of the site plan. So I made the comment to refer to the tree canopy plan for tree removals. Sorry, but some of these trees near the front of the house might be impacted by construction and subsequently be impacted and sorry, turn into hazard trees. So we might recommend removal of those trees
Because of construction?
Yeah, and I believe they were ribboned on site for removal. Additionally, there were some trees on the adjacent lot which were marked ribbon for removal, and I believe there was 2 trees down here. I believe it on this one and this one.
I can't see your screen, Joel.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, geez. No wonder.
Yeah, I was lost.
All right, boy. All right, let's start over. Jeez. All right.
Thank you.
I'm searching things as I'm explaining them, and all right. No, I was
Sounds
just,
like you have a cold.
yeah, I've had a cold for.
Is this address gonna be Sweet Clover or Clematis Lane?
There'll probably
Driveways in the
need to bring an address change eventually. Yeah, Sweet Clover's down slope down here, and then Clematis is up above. So the driveway is going to connect to Clematis, is what's being proposed. So at some point, they'll have to put in for an address change with the county and, eventually with Sudden Valley.
Joel,
Yes.
did you see the email from the neighbor asking, stating that they were opposed to that?
Yes, I believe I did. I believe so.
I don't know if it's prudent to bring it up
Oh yeah.
right now.
I was going to bring it up anyway.
Yeah, I may as well here.
The address changed from Clematis Lane to from Sweet Clover Circle to Clematis Lane.
Yes.
Okay.
And so what it would mean is if a lot like this that borders is adjacent to 2 different streets, usually has you can have your option of where you want to which street you want the house to face, where you want to build. And so they're proposing to come off of Clematis Lane up above. So there was an email from a neighbor.
Yeah, John, what could be done to avoid hitting those trees?
So clarify which trees we're talking about.
I'll start over here. There was 2 tree. These trees up in front on the near the front left corner of that house, John,
Right,
I think are probably going to be impacted by
right.
the construction and probably recommended for removal. I believe they were flagged on site for removal, but they weren't marked on the trees on the site. The trees on the site plan weren't marked for removal, weren't identified which trees were going to be removed.
Right.
So I think I made that comment, show which trees are going to be removed, and then the trees got removed from the site plan.
So how does that affect the canopy coverage? Does that affect the calculation there?
Yeah, you'd probably have to replant to make up for that. But if Vlad is still present, he might be able to speak to the trees better than I.
Vlad there?
I'm looking. Yeah, if he's the phone. Yeah, he needs to unmute. There you
Okay,
go.
I'm here.
There he is.
Did you hear our conversation?
Yes, I did. So those two trees on the right side of the house Joel mentioned.
Yeah.
Over here.
I was thinking like to get it, removed because it was I think it's gonna be impacted by construction, like even if they're a little bit on the, looks like on the adjacent side, but that was my thoughts, that's why I was marked them. But if it's okay with the neighbor.
Well, it sounds like the neighbor's not okay with it. So what can we do about that?
Oh, no, sorry. The neighbor who had the email lives across the street down here, and his email was just asking about not the tree removal, but he was opposed to having the driveway come off of Clematis Lane.
Oh, I see.
And I think would rather have it come off of Sweet Clover. Right?
Well, whose trees are those
It
that you
impacts
circled?
these trees over here on the right.
Yeah.
Circled, those two are owned by not Sudden Valley.
That too Sweet Clover? Sweet, yeah.
I think so.
Is that a resident or is that Sudden Valley?
No, it's a resident. It's a private owner. They have a California address.
And correct me if I'm wrong, those trees appear to be on two Sweet Clover property.
No, I believe you are correct.
So that's clearly a thing where we need to get the owner's approval of two Sweet Clover to do anything with those trees. Is that correct?
I would think so. Is that, Joel, is that red mark? Is that your marking or did somebody spray paint that tree?
Those red markings that are on the trees is, I think, just some flagging or some red.
Oh, okay. It's not spray paint. It looks like
Yeah.
spray paint from here.
Yeah, so the trees weren't ribboned all the way around when I went out.
Yeah.
Were they ribboned around the trunks when you went out today? Okay, if you don't remember, but
yeah, I can't remember.
It's a minor.
Yes, I did put
policy
the ribbon
to-
around. First, I put the, like just tape, red tape. But yeah.
Okay.
I would think we would need an arborist report about the proximity of those trees to the new construction, and then the owners of those trees to sign off on what needs to happen with them, if anything.
Yeah, the owners would definitely have to approve that. Those are their trees. It's definitely on their lot. And if they didn't, do you have any options for them if they want to work with you?
I'd leave that to Vlad.
I think we can just leave it as as there's no touch, you know, like I'm not gonna touch them.
Okay, wait,
Because-
I think we would probably need an arborist report to make sure that there's a fence around those trees wide enough so that they aren't damaged too.
Well, the real issue to me is the roots.
That's what I mean, the
Can
root
you
system.
excavate, you know, and not harm the tree?
Yeah, that's why I would like to see an arborist look at it and determine what's the safe zone for those trees. You can't kill the neighbor's trees. Unless they want you to.
Yeah.
Why did the neighbor across the street now want to have the Clematis Lane address?
I don't think a reason was given. You could speculate.
I mean, didn't they submit an email regarding that?
He
Yeah,
just asked if it was legal for them to do
To
it,
change it.
to
Yeah.
change the house. He, you know, because the driveway is coming into Clematis.
yes, if there was any recourse, but I don't. I think the only option he would have is to offer to buy the lot. But at this point, there's no recourse that I'm aware of.
So do you go through the county to do that, or do you just do it?
Yeah, I think you have to file some paperwork with the county to get an address change. It's happened at least on 2 other constructions that I'm aware of since I've been here.
The fire marshal sometimes pipes up and says, you have to change the address.
Mm-hmm.
But it's marked on the maps, like the address map, that this is either 13 or 4. So it's either 13 Clematis or 4 Sweet Clover.
Yeah.
And the city or county will accept either one.
Yeah, I do remember seeing that maybe a year or so ago in another location. So let's nail down the tree issues. We would definitely need to see a written permission from the neighbors for those on the side there. And Joel, could you go over again with the other ones on the bottom left that you think they weren't originally slated to be cut, and now because you're concerned that with construction they will be damaged? Is that correct?
That's correct. I think so. I think they were flagged for removal out there. Was that right, Vlad?
Yeah.
So that was, I can't read the sizes there, those trees.
There's I think it's a 29-inch fir,
34.
34, and this is a 12. There's also a 14 up here.
Those are some significant trees. 34-inch.
Yeah.
Almost 3 feet.
Yeah.
May I add, item 26, page 5. The position of those trees is different than what's being shown right now. Page 26, item 26, page 5. So I'm a little uncertain about. There's one that appears to be close to the corner of the building, and then one in this picture that appears to be quite a bit further than what we were just looking at. So there's that.
Hey, 1 second. Sorry.
Thank you. You're zooming right in on what I was hoping for.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right there. Now you see this orientation here is more, let's say, up and down or north and south. One's closer to the building and the other one is considerably further. The previous picture sort of had a different orientation.
Is that after Todd
So this one-
removed some trees?
Yeah,
Yes.
so yeah, So this tree was
Oh.
removed from that plan. This tree was removed from the plan. This number 1 and this tree number 2 are what you see shown here. This is tree number 1. This is tree number 2.
I see. So this is this is the after effect of the 2 trees being taken down.
Not removed physically, but removed from this, deleted from this plan.
From the plan. Okay, thank you. I was trying to understand that.
Another one up there, yeah.
I guess, Joel, what I would suggest, you made the right thing about the neighbor trees. Here, I would, if you're trying to take out one and not another, that's problematic because the roots will be entangled. Possibly we could have an arborist render a decision as to whether there's no way you can excavate and save the trees or the opposite. And if it's decided that the trees should come out, figure out a replanting to compensate. And I guess that should happen pretty early.
So at this point, what is the replanting plan?
Well, I mean, that's up to you guys.
You have nothing at this point though, right?
No.
Okay.
The hash marks are the only spots indicated for tree removal on the canopy plan. So there's quite a bit of canopy that would end up being removed.
There's a general landscaping plan. It has plantings at the rear, but it doesn't include tree. It doesn't look like it takes into consideration replanting due to tree canopy removal.
Yeah, and the landscaping area is not very big, so you'd have to do native. And the county would probably want to get involved in that.
In what the plantings would be?
Yeah.
And where, or
yeah,
just what plants? I mean, I would like to see that area filled in again.
Well, they generally say, as is indicated, you don't touch the native area. But that's really the only place you can replant unless it's mitigated on some other lot. So
you're talking about the back?
Well, everything in dark green is the native vegetation.
Yeah.
The light green is your available landscaping area.
Right.
The hash marks that aren't green are for tree removal. So they're not counted towards the canopy.
Yeah.
So what you're affecting a large portion of the canopy in the lower left by taking out pretty much all of the trees, or at least the 2 big ones. And that one in the middle would probably have to come out because it would be compromised.
Yeah, so I'm thinking, I mean,
unless
right
you
now
keep the stumps.
The tree canopy to be removed right now is 32.7. What's it going to be when you remove those?
Right. So the tree canopy to remain is 36.8. And that's where you have all the circles, the dark green circles, or not quite as dark as the native vegetation.
So I guess what I'm wondering is,
yeah, you're taking about 15 to 18% of the tree canopy that should be remaining. And so you want to make that up somehow, or the county would probably come out and say, dictate, what they want to see happen.
Right.
And maybe.
And what would you tell the
county?
county?
Okay with replanting towards the front property line? Or maybe they say, let's put a couple more in the back and expand the canopy there.
So, committee, are we talking about an arborist, report on those trees and their impact in the front yard? And then a replanting if some of them need to come out? And then definite approval written approval from the neighbor for the trees on the side? Is that where we stand?
Yes.
Yes.
Is that how you understood it, John?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll need to see, I guess the motion would be, well, are there any other issues you want to talk about? Other than the trees? Nothing else? So I guess the motion would be, move to approve with, a neighbor's note approving the tree removal on, what is that? What's that address, Joel?
I believe it's
2.
Sweet Clover Circle.
A written approval for the removal of those trees from the neighbor at 2 Sweet Clover Circle, is that what it was?
Yes.
And an arborist report for the trees on the front yard there, I guess. Are we talking about 4 trees or 3 trees?
I would just say the whole area.
Okay, so they would assess what needs to be removed.
Yeah. And if there's removal, whether the stumps should remain or if they can remain, you know, it may be that you have to take out more than just the 2 big ones.
So how could we translate
to-
into a replanting for that?
Yeah.
Because those are such significant trees. Are we talking 3 to 1, or is there something else that you want to offer committee? Would a 3 to 1 be good to replace those if they need to come out?
Yes.
Yeah. What are the requirements when you do the 3 to 1? I mean, do they put like a 24-inch tree, or, you know, what's
I think, Patrick, you could tell them what it should be. And they've always been pretty amenable. So it's not just a 3-foot Leyland cypress. Do you have a suggestion, Patrick?
No, I was just wondering what the requirements are when we say that.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned that they are significant trees, so maybe they should be replanted with something fairly significant.
I would submit that the county's going to have a pretty strong opinion, and just kind of defer to what I think they're going to have a pretty strong suggestion or demand for what to replant, where, and how big.
Are you guys okay with that?
Yes.
The
Yes.
county's recommendation?
Yes.
Okay, so the motion will be to move to approve with the neighbor's approval for those trees to be removed. If not, they will not be removed. And the trees in the front will have an arborist report. And if there's some mitigation, we will defer to the county as to the mitigation for the removal. All in favor?
Well, and the tree and
Go
the
ahead, John.
tree and the additional trees planted.
In the front there?
With at least 3 to 1 is what I wrote down.
We were going to defer to the county recommendations.
So if the county does 2 to 1, you're okay with that?
I would be if we were listening to county.
I would be.
Same.
Okay. So the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay. Unanimous.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for working with us on that one.
Thank you.
All right, so that was 26. And we have you for 33, I think, John? Is that right?
I don't have an agenda. It's 101 Fuller Park.
Yeah. That is 33.
Sorry, I got booted out, I think, for a minute there.
We didn't even know you were gone, Joel.
I was listening and you were approving replanting, deferring to the county. And I started to ask a question about these neighbor trees, the neighbors' trees, if they didn't get if they are unable to get approval from the neighbor, what's the next
They
action?
cannot cut them down or damage
Yeah,
them.
they cannot cut them down. If they damage the roots, will an arborist come out to evaluate?
If they don't get approval, yeah, I think they should have to have an arborist report to determine that, make sure that they aren't damaged.
They are safe. Okay.
Yeah. Is that clear in that motion, Diane, or what do we need to do?
2 trees on right need a written permission from the neighbor. If not, an arborist report is required. To make
Or
sure
a
they're not.
fence.
What?
Or a
Okay.
fence to prevent damage.
Yeah.
Uh,
The
okay.
fence will be required anyway.
Okay, so an arborist report is required to make sure they're not damaged. Is that
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
Thank you.
Item 33, I believe.
Item 33, yes. Take it, Joel.
Is this 101?
Yeah.
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 All right. Okay. All right. Variance for less than 1,000 square foot. For the tree canopy plan for tree removals, satisfies other ACC requirements. There's 2 things here. Other things we'll talk about. There's trees on this one that were, I had them in on a page somewhere here. Trees. So this is the front. There's a couple trees that were ribboned on site, which were not kind of similar to the last plan. They're ribbon on site for removal, but not indicated on the plan for removal. This photo shows the front left property corner. There's a tree circled. It looks like that tree is on the neighboring lot. And that neighboring lot is owned by Sudden Valley, SVCA. So on the site plan, or so let's do the tree canopy plan because they have the trees on them. So I believe it's this tree. This tree number 1 here.
Yeah.
And then these trees were also ribboned, this 20-inch and another smaller tree there. You can see the outline of the tree canopy plan. So these trees were trees that were to remain.
Is there any reason we should approach those any differently than the ones on the previous drawing? On the previous?
I think it's reasonable to do so. You know, this 20-inch one might be far enough away to not be significantly impacted.
Yeah.
There's a smaller one here. No, that looks like, with the driveway, it's gonna be goner.
Okay.
Excuse me. I'll show you that photo again. So I think this is the 20. What was it? A 20 or a 20? Yeah, 20-inch right here. So this is tree number 1. This is tree number 2.
Is this one in the front foreground just in the right of way?
Yeah, this is just a right-of-way tree here. And I don't think that one was it shown? Oh, it's one of these. Maybe it might be this tree.
Yeah.
And then in the, I think a lot of these trees in the right of way were also ribbon. On the right side, this 33-inch cedar and this 23-inch tree were ribboned for removal.
That's a lot of trees.
That's a
Or
lot of trees.
I'm gonna show you here. So this tree, I believe, the one I'm circled here, I'm gonna label as tree number 3. I believe is this 23-inch. And, you know, it may be, you know, I'm not an arborist, but it does look like it's leaning and probably that may warrant removal. That's
Are
ribbon.
there vines around it or something?
Yeah, I was looking at that too.
I don't know.
It looks like a small tree growing that's even more slanted than that one.
You can see the property, you can see the corner stake here of the house. That tree, another tree, a big cedar here is ribbon. This is tree 4. And then over here, tree 5. So I believe that on our tree canopy plan, this is that cedar tree 4, and this may be tree 5 up here.
So Joel, help me understand the